I expected him to size up the moment and make a speech that would have given us hope, that should have inspired Kenyans. Instead, he addressed the nation as if he was in a matanga. Shindwe, Rigathi has a good brain. The problem is not Rigathi. And you'll soon discover that the problem was not Rigathi.
Oh.
The problem is the boss himself.
We'll soon discover.
You'll soon discover that the problem is the boss. But we want proper jobs. Like the jobs the children are doing. One of them is an ambassador.
Yeah.
Those are the jobs we want for our children. We don't want Mujengo.
You've seen
We are tired of Mujengo.
Have you seen Alfred Mutua advocating?
We don't want this Mujengo. We don't want our children, Jed, to be sent to Dubai and Middle East to clean people's... When did Oginda and the team meet, commissioners meet?
Some say they might have...
When did they meet?
They might have vetted Kindiki before the impeachment.
No, when did they meet?
Some argue that could have been the case.
How can you vet a man who does not have an office, who has not applied for a job? How do you... The office is not vacant. How can you start vetting that person? What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not Sogoi. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post-Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.
A very good day to you and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted this particular Friday. Some call it Kindiki Day. It's a holiday. We've just sworn in our new Deputy President, Abraham Professor Kithure Kindiki. My conversation today with the one and only Philip Kisia is all about what the future looks like. We've been at our courts for the past couple of weeks and what do we expect from them as we move forward. This is Philip Kisia Unscripted. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. Thanks, Kisia, for making time for me once again at your place. How are you doing this week?
Jed, I'm okay.
Yeah.
We were given a holiday at night. Declared, I don't know. They didn't tell us what the holiday was all about, but people are calling it the Kindiki. The Kindiki Day. Yeah. Kindiki Day. And the others are calling it the Mutusi.
The Mutu?
So Mutusi Day.
Oh, Mutusi Day.
So I don't know, whichever suits you. But why are they giving Kenyans holidays when they are broke? They are broke.
So that's the questions Kenyans are having.
Why do you do the holiday when you're broke?
Just in case you're wondering why I'm looking so good, it's because I met someone called Kwame from St. Osei Clothing, and he told me, look, I want to give you a shirt and I want your viewers to know that I come up with good shirts straight out of Ghana. The numbers are down on the screens. His material is so good. If you're looking for a shirt and you're looking for unisex clothes, he comes up with good dresses for women. Visit Kwame at St. Osei Clothing and he'll be the person for you in terms of clothing. I know you know him, Kisia.
Well, you're advertising him on my behalf.
The contacts are 0723456589. 0723456589. You can reach out to Kwame and he will help you in case you want to see his shop. It's along Lenana Road inside Astral Petrol Station. He's also at Mama Shanti. He's also at Quickbut along Gitanga Road. His designs are unisex. That means for both ladies and gentlemen, you can get this quality shirts. In case you've seen Kisia with some shirts, I'm sure they're from him. But Kisia, it's always good to start with your highlights. Any particular thing that you've noticed that you don't want me to miss this week?
Well, a lot has happened. Some issues have come to closure. But I must say that we have been treated to some drama. As a form of Simon Makonde moment. Okay? You saw the government, the Kenya Kwanza government, immediately the courts pronounced themselves. They didn't waste time. They moved at lightning speed. The speed was so fast. It was faster than a supersonic. Okay?
Yeah.
An assumption of office team was constituted in record time. Swearing in date was gazetted. They have now also confirmed that Kithure Kindiki, until yesterday, was CS in charge of Interior because they then appointed my friend Musalia as the acting CS Interior, which means that Kindiki was still a CS until yesterday. Then, of course, they immediately went on to give us a holiday, the Kindiki holiday. They immediately rushed to KICC and booked the venue, prepared the venue for a swearing in of a deputy president, the third deputy president under the new political dispensation. So, Jed, Kenyans are wondering, and they are asking themselves, that razor speed, efficiency that we saw in this swearing in, kicking out Rigathi Gachagua from office, people are asking if the government can be so efficient, so effective in executing this particular thing, how come they are so inefficient in serving Kenyans? That's the question that people are asking. But anyway, the day is over. I'm told they went for lunch. President Ruto hosted them for lunch, I'm told. He never invited me. Yeah. But it's okay. I don't know they invited. But at least we got a holiday.
I don't say he's my friend. You say he's your friend.
Yeah, he used to be my friend. But at least we got a holiday. Yeah. Even if people are broke, but we got a holiday. But Kenyans, I think that it's a useless holiday that Kenyans just have been allowed to continue working, because just a couple of Kenyans, a few Kenyans who went to KICC. And you see, you can now understand why they chose settle for KICC. It would have been an embarrassment taking this thing to Uhuru Park. You can imagine a drop of fellows at Uhuru Park, maybe 2,000-3,000 people at Uhuru Park. So to avoid that embarrassment, I suspect they decided to pick on KICC. Not because it was convenient, but because there would have been no crowd. Now let me talk about KICC. And to shame President Ruto, for him to understand that there are certain things that he intends to do which are, very shameful. KICC is not just a national heritage. You cannot sell your heritage. It is like selling your mother because she's naked or she has no clothes. Instead of clothing and giving her new clothes, you say you want to sell your mother. That is what President Ruto almost did to KICC. Now, that KICC falls within the government square. On one side, and I think Musalia tried to explain, behind we have the Judiciary. Okay? Then we have KICC and the other government buildings on one side. Harambee House, Jogo House, the Inspector General for Police, Foreign Affairs. And then on the other side, we have Parliament. On the other side, we have City Hall and the Cathedral. Then a man who does not understand some of these things is trying to plug one of those very symbolic institutions, very symbolic, to plug it off and give it to some Mandani maybe to give another form of Andani. Yeah. He wanted to give another form of Andani. He should come to us who have been here, who understand the city, and who know that there are certain iconic buildings that mean something to the city. So that's the government square. So again, it was appropriate to hold that particular function at KICC because that is where the power is. Yeah. You have the cathedral, you have the city hall, you have judiciary, you have government office on one side, and then parliament. Then Jomo Kenyatta, he is facing parliament. You think the people who planned that were stupid? Mzee is facing what?
Parliament.
And what? Uhuru Park. And do you know why that space is open? So that Mzee can face Parliament and look at Uhuru Park. This is part of our history. So I get so mad when President Ruto makes an attempt to sell our heritage, to sell iconic buildings, to sell our institutions, to some Andani arrangements. These Andani arrangements, I don't know what I don't know what these Andani arrangements that he has. So anyway, so I must say that Kindiki is a good man, at least from what I hear. I've not interacted with him for too long, but I know he's good. I know he'll make it. So I want to join other people, including joining his boss, his new boss, William Ruto, to congratulate him for this selection, because he has been selected.
Yes.
He was not elected. He just been selected through the mercy of William Ruto.
Yeah.
Benevolency of William Ruto has put him in office. So I'm hoping that he doesn't change, because Mosale described him very well. He said he's a simple man. He looks truthful.
Yeah.
He looks honest. I have not heard of matters relating to corruption hovering around him. So I'm hoping he keeps it that way. But he has a job cut for him, Jed. And this is important because it's a Kindiki day. We need to spend some time talk about this Kindiki day.
Yes.
You know, this man has a serious job cut for him. Being a professor of law, and now the second in command, the tray is full. I want him to now still advise his boss to stop these extrajudicial killings and the disappearance of our children and Kenyans. He must advise him appropriately. Otherwise, I have said this before, the same Kithure Kindiki was the one who defended him, represented him as a legal counsel at ICC. We don't want to have another ICC too. He must be told that extrajudicial killings do not end, that he will be followed after he has left office. So Kithure, knowing very well, and having tested the grounds at the ICC, we do not want an ICC too. The second thing that he must tell his boss is that the health system has collapsed. Our people are dying. This experiment that he tried introducing is not working, and he needs to relook at it. He needs to be told that the funding model for the university has completely failed. Our lecturers and professors are on strike, and I thank God Kindiki is a professor himself, and he has been teaching. I know now the salary he's earning is very good. I hope he has not forgotten that teachers, professors are underpaid. So he must advise his boss that people who need to be paid, because teachers teach all of us, including Ruto. All of us who are taught by teachers and professors, they need to be compensated properly. It is sad that this government, when Uhuru had increased interns and salary to 200K, this parliament, rogue parliament, has brought it down to 70. Kenyans must remember this is a rogue government. It's a rogue parliament. They are rogue. They are not there to represent Kenyans. The other thing that, of course, and I know Kindiki is not boy serious, okay? Simple man. So he should be consulting his boss behind the tent quietly and telling him that now that the courts pronounce themselves in the manner they did, and they are so happy, they are talking about working institutions. And I'm hoping that they're not talking about working institutions because the ruling was in their favor. I am hoping that other rulings which come after this one, other rulings that come, that they'll stop making noise and blaming the judiciary. Kenyans didn't want this ruling. A majority of us were against this particular, but we accept. We have accepted, and we're moving on. Finally, on that matter, I heard Kithure talk about, when you took an oath of office, he talked about doing what? Faithfully giving counsel. Faithfully giving counsel within the confines of our constitution. The only thing that was a letdown today was that he was not prepared. Was his speech inspiring? Was it? I doubt. I waited. In fact, I thought maybe I had a written speech. I waited. And then I just had to walk off the TV because, you see, that was his moment. The country is bleeding. The country is in pain. People are suffering. I expected him to size up the moment and make a speech that would have given us hope, that should have inspired Kenyans. Instead, he addressed the nation as if he was in a matanga. Shindwe. He needs to improve.
I want to get your reaction.
Needs to improve.
Because we've talked about Kindiki. My dear Kindiki, this is President William Ruto. I need your voice. I need your intellect to help me. And this yes is to speak about the things we are doing. I've almost become a lonely voice in the executive, especially in the presidency, speaking about our projects, programs, and what we are doing. You are eloquent and intelligent, my brother. I am confident you will do which I have missed for the 2 years. Did Gachagua fall short of this?
No, you see, he is now trying to pass the blame to Gachagua. He's trying to pass. Rigathi is equally eloquent. In fact, he's very eloquent, extremely eloquent. Rigathi has a good brain. The problem is not Rigathi. And you'll soon discover that the problem was not Rigathi.
Oh.
The problem is the boss himself.
We'll soon discover.
You'll soon discover that the problem is the boss. Because tell me, when a company is not doing well, do you go start blaming cleaners? Do you start blaming, you in private sector, we normally say, we put your head as a MD on the chopping board. So the person whose head should be put on the chopping board is none other than William Ruto. Forget about Rigathi. This man does not believe in something called delegation. Okay? Is he now saying again, because saying he's my lonely voice, I'm a lonely voice, go to hell. Is he trying to suggest that again the cabinet that he has of 22 are failing him? Because saying that I'm alone talking about projects, there is nothing to talk about. Jed, in this government, he has 22 ministers or whatever you call them. They have nothing to talk about. What does President Ruto expect them to talk about when there's nothing to talk about? It's like asking people to write an exam and there's no exam. So this is a total fail. Now let us go to the second one.
That was just the welcoming remarks. Let's get to the highlights.
Come on. You give me time.
I think
we are here to talk.
Ryan should have made some space here.
We need to talk. Come on, allow us to talk.
I'm feeling those punches coming.
Well, allow us to talk. The second one, and quickly look at it. There is this pastor, I think he's calling Apostle Michael. A very interesting character. And I think I would encourage President Ruto to listen to that man, even if he thinks that maybe they don't agree. But just listen to the man. Pull out that video.
Wajambazi, thieves. A government of what? Thieves. That one I will say until Jesus come back. We have a government of thieves from the president down. Thieves. Not even thieves, robbers. I love that Catholic priest that was telling, this message is for a thief. Are you here and you're a thief? This message is for you. You would see the look on Ruto's face. A thief. Thieves. Gachagua is a thief. And Ruto is what? A thief. Now a big thief is fighting a small thief. An armed robber is fighting a pickpocket. Praise King Jesus. He knows he's a thief. If he's not a thief, I challenge him. Let him lift Bible and tell people I'm not a thief.
That's Apostle Michael Mband. He talks about this government. You put this as your highlight. Pastors are going crazy against the president. What do you make of this?
You see, these are the people who prayed for him to get into office. 2 years down the line, they have discovered that the person they voted for is not the person who is actually in the office. And he has used very strong words. And why am I asking my president to listen to this? You know, when your own pastors, Kaji, are talking about, they're calling you a hooligan, a government comprised of hooligans, thieves. And he has even suggested that Rigathi was just a pocket thief, pickpocket. But the robber, the thug, the robber number one is William himself. Why would people be talking about my president? You know, I listen to that and I'm asking myself, why? Why? But he has also raised a very important issue. One of the issues that sent Rigathi home was the issue of acquisition of wealth, unexplained growth in wealth, okay, assets, money. he has challenged President Ruto to publicly declare his wealth, to tell us where he started from, when he took over as a maybe deputy president, to now as president. We want to see the movement. If he indeed, because I heard him talk about corruption, say, you know, asking the agencies, Judiciary, DCI, and ESCC to work together to fight corruption. How can they fight corruption when the man on the top is not being serious about corruption? So I really would urge my president to listen to that Apostle Michael. He may just find some useful advice from that video. The second one, as now we move on, look for President Uhuru's video. The way he talks about power. When you actually want to know the true measure of a man, the true measure of a man.
If you want to know the true measure of a man, watch what he does with power, how he handles his opponents, how he treats his wife and family, and what he does with his influence.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta, I think now he's back. Kenyans were asking where he was. But this is his speech talking about the true measure of a man when they get power.
He said it. He's talked about how does a man treat your wife and family, especially in private, because in public we can see. At least when we saw him holding the hand of Rachel when they were in the US. I don't know what Willie and then President Uhuru was talking about, but he's saying you just know the true measure of a man from the way he treats the family and especially the wife. Again, Uhuru has talked about how does a person, once you have power, how do you treat your colleagues? How do you treat them? Do you treat them in a respectful manner? Do you provide leadership? How are you? Do you just change? Do you take a 360 for the worst? And then influence. You have influence now. You can make decisions on behalf of people. Do you bring us Adani? Do you start stealing public resources through some fake projects? And you see people talk about, people have been asking me, okay, that's the only avenue Ruto has to roll out some of these programs. This Adani thing, the airport, they are looking for 300 billion. They can track what they are looking for 95 billion. It's about 400 billion for the two. They want to bring some wind here. They want to bring here. The man who we've read from Australia has no capacity. We've even read from India, there's no capacity. Things have failed there. If it is money that Ruto is looking for, why can't he raise this money through an infrastructure bond? Kenyans are there. There are banks with money. There are insurance companies with money. Kenyans have money in diaspora. Why can't we use our own money to develop? In any case, is this suggesting that Kenyans cannot even, if we took a loan from wherever, from the infrastructure bond, are we saying that we can raise 10 billion shillings? Because it amounts to 10 billion shillings over 30 years, 10 billion, only 10 billion. 10 billion, we can't raise. So let them not hide behind Adani to steal public resources. We are saying no, and we are saying complete no. So I am hoping that now he has enabled deputy principal assistant, as in his own admission, he's saying he's a good man, he's capable, he's eloquent,
He's intelligent.
he's intelligent. Now that he has all those, which he claims he was missing, but he's not suggesting that he's not intelligent. Because as a leader, you're supposed to be more intelligent. But that aside, we are hoping that now that there are two of them, that the things that have been going wrong in this country, our children have no jobs. We want to see them creating jobs through improving the economy, expanding the economy, building industries, encouraging private sector to invest, and so on and so forth. so that our children who are graduating from schools, from university, can get good jobs. We thank him for giving us 120,000 Mujengo jobs in this affordable housing thing.
Yeah.
We thank him. But we want proper jobs, like the jobs his children are doing. One of them is an ambassador.
Yeah.
Those are the jobs we want for our children. We don't want Mujengo.
You've seen
We are tired of Mujengo.
Have you seen Alfred Mutua advocating?
We don't want this Mujengo. We don't want our children, Jed, to be sent to Dubai and Middle East to clean people's, toilets. We want proper jobs for our children, Jed. We want proper jobs for our children.
Let's get into a conversation because
we want proper jobs
today
for our children.
We just sworn in a new deputy president. And our conversation throughout the week has all been about our courts, the Supreme Court dismissing Court of Appeal's ruling with regards to public participation in the Finance Act of 2023. Trust in the judiciary is a big conversation. Conversation about the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Was it properly constituted? Is it constituted for one Kithure Kindiki to be appointed as the deputy president? And there's also the conversation about term limits. This is my conversation today with Philip Kisia. Philip is a leadership and governance expert, former Nairobi town clerk, ex-KICC CEO. Let's start with the Supreme Court's ruling. And we want to look at the part of trust. Because one, the Court of Appeal says there was inadequate public participation in the Finance Act of 2023 when it was a bill. And then you come and look at the Supreme Court saying that there is a legislative gap when it comes to public participation. First of all, how can we trust the judiciary if this higher court is contradicting the lower court? And also, what should be done with this issue of public participation? Because we've talked about it for so long.
You know, I was also taken aback. I have a lot of respect for our judiciary. A lot of respect. Because I think, Jed, it is probably the only institution that is functioning. Not maybe to full capacity, but it is functioning. It is again one of the institutions where there is less corruption compared to the other arms of government, the other two arms of government. Those are completely finished. There's nothing there to talk about. Okay? So when they made this ruling, that was painful. We have accepted. We are moving on. I fail to understand how a court of appeal, because Supreme Court actually deals with constitutional matters. A court of appeal have made a determination, which in my view was a very sound judgment. They said that the participation was not adequate. Then the Supreme Court tries to find some fault to cure this political mess that President Ruto has put us in. They have come to rescue him. They cleaned him up. Okay? So, but Jed, I would suggest that going forward, we really need to have a very clear law that defines what public participation is. For example, if it is a matter that is national, and we have, say, 20 million people who voted, if it's a matter that is serious, that requires public participation, that, is not covered under a referendum, that a good percentage of the people who voted must participate, must give that thing an okay. For example, if we say 10% of people must give feedback, okay? 20 million people, so not what this Chege fellow boy is talking about, that a couple of people sent emails, and some of them were being sent by their friends.
He says 500,000 emails.
Yeah, we know these games. We know these games.
We'll talk about.
We know these games.
We'll talk about that.
So we want a law that clearly defines and outlines what public participation is all about, because right now it's so vague. It is left to the interpretation of other people. It is not clear. How on earth a few people, I don't know how many people returned the forms, on this Rigathi thing, 160,000.
Yes.
Yet we had how many people voted? Millions of people voted.
Yes.
And even that, those returns, the process was flawed, completely flawed. They did Amlolongo on Kenyans. The longer queue became the shorter queue. But Jed, that's water under the bridge. Let us move on. Let us move on. Because we cannot continue living in the past.
So
It has happened. The man now is occupying the seat. President Ruto seems to be very happy that he has got a very eloquent and intelligent young man who will help him. Let us see. We want now to see the economy working. We want to see the education fundal model being relooked at. And especially because Kithure himself was a teacher. He must tell his boss that this thing is not working. So we are looking for solutions from one Kithure Kindiki.
how can the judiciary, solve this problem of mistrust? Because now they are pronouncing themselves on public participation, saying there's a legislative gap, but also they are overruling a judgment that has been made. Everyone is thinking, what is happening? How can they now deal with this mistrust that they have, especially now with the Gachagua case too?
You see, they also need to weigh. They need to look at the public mood. Yes, they must be guided. All the decisions that are made by the court must be guided by the law. Nothing else but the law. But where the thing is a bit ambiguous, they must put public interest first. Where like this public participation thing is unclear. And I agree with the Court of Appeal. Where it is unclear, you look at how is it affecting the public? How is it affecting the public? So it's not about Rigathi. It's not about William Ruto. But how will it impact on the people of Kenya?
Saying that, I'm thinking about lawyer John Hamino, who told the three-judge bench that, look, if you lift these stay orders, conservatory orders, and Kithure Kindiki is impeached, there might be political instability. I looked at Omtata, Senator Busia, who said because of this Finance Act being brought back, we are looking at a situation of July 25th because people didn't want it and now we are bringing it back. What is the role of the judiciary when it comes to looking at political instability as they are making these rulings?
Two things, Jed. Let us separate things that are affecting a person. Like you see, sending Rigathi home will not have caused political instability, in my view. It hasn't. The only thing that it will do, and you can take this to the bank, President William Ruto will be punished severely by the people of the mountain. That one you can take to the bank. They are going to punish him. Because we are listening to the ground. So that punishment is coming whenever the elections are called. And probably that's why they're attempting using some dodgy means to extend their term. But punishment is coming.
Yeah.
You are from Central, I know, you know it. You may not want to say it on air.
Yeah.
The other thing, particularly I want to make reference to the finance bill. The finance bill was touching on people. It's even affecting the judges. It's draconian. Surely. Where even the Court of Appeal had made their work easy by saying there was no adequate public participation in this matter. Why was that one overruled? Yet it is affecting the people adversely. This act is draconian. It does not help us. It is inflicting pain, severe pain on our people. So even on that basis alone, in my view, the Supreme Court would have said, okay, fine. Although there's ambiguity in terms of this public participation, I don't have laws, but in the interest of the public, because the laws are meant to serve the public. The laws are not meant for anything else, for the good of the people. This finance bill, in my own view, it is hurting Kenyans. It is not for the good of the public.
Okay.
So on that score alone, the Supreme Court should have upheld the judgment made by the Court of Appeal.
As we are sticking to our court corridors and law, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission does not have commissioners. And I want to talk a little bit about Kithure Kindiki, because look, he's now our deputy president without him passing through IEBC's commissioners. I believe he has passed through the secretariat. This is going to be one of the cases from Gachagua's lawyers. From where you sit, looking at IEBC, the elections that are supposed to be held, there is the looking into boundaries that hasn't happened because we don't have commissioners. Is he proper in office, Kithure Kindiki, in the case of IEBC?
I think we are past that one, Jed. Whether he's not properly in office or is properly seated in office, he's in the office. Okay?
Yeah.
But I must say that the standards should be the same, because they're standards. You cannot say that the secretariat cannot organize by-elections. Okay? They cannot organize by-elections. But then you turn back and say that even with the absence of the commissioners, we can clear the deputy president. Those are double standards. Double standards. And I suspect the courts will find some challenge with the process, how the process was taken through. Yeah? Because you can't say, okay, commissioners are, in the absence of commissioners, we cannot move. But when it comes to a matter that is suiting you, the commissioners work at night, in the wee hours of the morning. Yeah? KRA, we know these people are very inefficient, but ESCC, KRA, but even the chairman Oginde,
Yeah.
was he woken up to come and clear this man?
ESCC.
Yeah. Was he woken up as a commission? Because the clearance is given by the commission. In fact, the chairman of ESCC also need to be taken to task. When did they meet? Because Parliament ended in the morning, after midnight. When did Oginde and the team meet, commissioners meet?
Some say they might have...
When did they meet?
They might have vetted Kindiki before the impeachment.
No, when did they meet?
Some argue that could have been the case.
How can you vet a man who does not have an office, who has not applied for a job? How do you... The office is not vacant. How can you start vetting that person? How can you predetermine that this person will have that office? You know, I mean, it's suspect. So and like Kibaki said, even if you want to steal, use some little brain.
So when you look at this case of IEBC, how do we solve this situation? What do Kenyans think? I don't know even what to ask, because there are no commissioners. We've already placed Kithure Kindiki in office. What does the future hold? Does Gachagua even have a case to present so that his impeachment is not verified by the judges?
You know, actually, we were going through some constitutional crisis. Touch wood. Touch wood, nothing happened to the president. Touch wood. You can imagine if something happened to the president, you have impeached the deputy president. Impeached. He is in court battling. And then something happens to the president. What would have happened?
Yeah.
So God has been merciful. Maybe those intercessors prayed this time and it has worked.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, but you cannot keep on disappointing God, because God gave you this brain to use. Use it. Don't try and play monkey business here. You know, we have had no IBC for what? Almost a year and a half now?
Yes.
People are not being represented. We have less than 2 years to elections. The next general elections. Less than 3 years. And you are pussyfooting, taking your time. You want to create another crisis so that we are caught up with the time, so that we don't hold elections in 2027. He is courting a crisis. And this crisis he's courting will eat him up. I don't want to say like what, but it will eat him up.
Now,
he must move with speed and constitute the IEBC. If he's trying to maneuver so that he has an IEBC that will rig him into office, I can tell him for free. That the defeat is going to suffer is going to be so serious, Jed. It's going to be so serious. You know, I think this morning I was reading about the president of Botswana. His party has been leading for 58 years. Right?
Yeah.
He has had one term as a president. Right?
Yeah.
President Masisi. You know, he said what? The people have spoken. The people have done what?
Have spoken.
And I'm going home. Their Kanu, the equivalent of Kanu, 58 years in power, has been sent home. President Masisi, who is a one term, has been sent home. That is what Kenyans are going to do to President William Ruto in 2027. They are going to send him home. You know, and the difference will be so overwhelming.
Yes.
He will be in shock. He is going to be in shock.
Yeah.
He will be in shock. If he thinks that he has put Rigathi in shock, he is going to be shocked. The difference will be so wide because he has no votes with the Gen Z. He has no votes anywhere. Maybe his only family will vote for him. You know, he will be left with his family because the family remains loyal to you. Even I've just seen something on Twitter, Rigathi with the family and saying, praising God, and you know, the family will remain with you. Yeah. So even I feel sorry for this man because in 2027, he'll be alone with the family, if he's lucky. But again, in the same breath, the president of Guinea-Bissau, I think it's called President Umaro or somebody. President Umaro has said, you know what, I can smell defeat. I can smell from a distance. I can smell defeat from 18. I'm smelling defeat. And my good wife has advised me not to run for a second term. And President Umaro has said, you know what, you have spoken. I'm not a deaf man. I don't want to pretend to be a stone. You have spoken. I have heard you. I don't want to suffer defeat. So please just spare me. Allow me to complete this term and I'm going home. That is what a decent person does. I was hoping that also Rachel Ruto learned from those good lessons from Mrs. Umaro and start preparing his husband to go home in 2027. He must start preparing him to go home.
I want to know then, you're talking about 2027 and there's this Samson Cherargei bill. He says 60% of Kenyans support him. Says 500,000 emails were sent to him and support out of them 60%. I'd want to know, are we going to have elections in 2027 or is our term limit for our elected leaders going to be extended?
Extended by who? Who is extending the term limit? Who gave them powers? The powers to amend the Constitution are not vested in Senate, in Parliament, or in Sugoi. The powers to amend the Constitution is vested in the people of Kenya through a referendum. They are wasting their time. They are testing the waters. They think we are stupid. They think we fear them. We do not fear these characters. If that will cost us blood, if it is going to cost us blood, because we have shed blood before, damu itamwagika. If it is going to cost us blood, President Ruto is on record saying that, you know what, I'm not a greedy man. I'm not a bad man. I'm not going to amend the Constitution to satisfy myself. So this fellow who is moving around and lying to people that he can even move a motion to extend the term limit is a waste of time. People are already tired of you in 2 years. You should pray that they can stomach you for 3 years. Leave alone extending. Just pray. Pray very hard. Call those intercessors. Let them go down on their knees and pray that the Kenyans will continue exercising patience till 2027. That should be their prayer.
All right.
But not to extend the term limit because highways make.
Thanks for tuning in to that conversation with Philip Kisia. We've been in our court corridors. We've talked about our constitution. Some want it changed for themselves. Others want it changed for the betterment of this country. Just as always, final thoughts, Mr. Kisia, as we are wrapping up today.
You know, now that we're talking about term limits, I wanted to look for that video that our son, President Obama, of the United States of America. I want William, I know he probably must have listened to this guy because he also wants to be a great fellow. I don't know that he'll ever be great, but I think he is struggling to be like an Obama. So I want him to listen to that tape. Yeah. Play it out.
Let me be honest with you. I do not understand this. I am in my second term. It has been an extraordinary privilege for me to serve as the President of the United States. I cannot imagine a greater honor or a more interesting job. I love my work. But under our Constitution, I cannot run again. I can't run again. I actually think I'm a pretty good president. I think if I ran, I could win. But I can't. So there's a lot that I'd like to do to keep America moving, but the law is the law. And no one person is above the law, not even the president.
That is Barack Hussein Obama, ex-president of the United States, says he's proud of what he's done as a president. It's time for him to leave office.
Correct. You know, Jed, serving people, it is an extraordinary privilege. When you're serving people, don't take it for granted. When you're given that opportunity to serve, serve. Be a servant leader. Don't be arrogant. Stop being a dictator. Because power is transient. Power belongs to the people. Obama has left very good lessons for him. And he was very specific, talking about African presidents. They have money that they have stolen from public. Stolen money. You have so much money, but you still want to hang on to the power. Yet even the Constitution does not allow you. You want to be the president for life because in your mind, nobody else can be a better president. Nobody else can provide leadership. It means that you have failed. If you cannot mentor other people, if you cannot believe that other people can do a job, in fact, better than you, then you have a big problem in your head. And that is why my professor, Professor Martin Linsky, calls the big L syndrome. The big L syndrome. You have it here on your forehead. You think you're the only one. That without you, nothing can happen. So, power is like a relay. We must learn to hand over, to pass on when your time comes. Don't make that mistake like they're trying to do, attempting to do, to increase their term limit when Kenyans are already tired of them. They must be satisfied that they were even given a chance. Because Kenya has been independent for how many decades? 6. How many presidents have we had? 5. How many million Kenyans do we have? 57. 60 years, only 5 people have sat in that office. You must count yourself privileged. Privileged, even if you are given 1 day. In fact, I want to be made president for only 100 days. You can see what I can do. You will see what I'll do.
Okay.
Of course, for the first thing I'll do in 100 days, I will lock up all these characters. All of them. They'll be in jail. They'll be committee. I'll suspend the constitution. Lock all of them. And ask them one by one to come, surrender all the properties they stole from the public. If not, I put them on a guillotine machine. What a conversation. What a conversation. This is Philip Kisia Unscripted.
He says he'll put them on a guillotine machine. Would you vote for him? Maybe that should be my question as we're wrapping up. But maybe I should let you know again about why I'm looking so fine today. It's because of St. Osei clothing by Kwame. He's a Ghanaian who does such good job when it comes to tailoring unisex clothing, that I mean shirts and dresses for women. He's located along Lenana Road inside Astropolis petrol station. He's also at Mama Shanti and also at Quickmart along Gatanga. His contacts are down on the screen, 0723 456 589. You can WhatsApp, you can SMS, you can call. He'll get back to you. If you order a cloth now, he can deliver it within 2 or 3 days. He's that good. He's really that good. So thanks for tuning into this conversation. I hope you share this video with as many people as possible so that we can reach this country, we can reach our leaders to enhance our democracy. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.
What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not for going. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.